What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Chris, and welcome to your weekly news recap. In this week's installment, we're talking about how CCP, the developers of EVE Online, have canceled the development of their World of Darkness MMO and have laid off their staff. Also, we'll be talking about how the Oculus development team has said that in 1 year's time, we'll understand why they took the Facebook deal. And lastly, we'll be talking about how the developers of The Division say that the Watch Dogs delay sent an important message about Ubisoft and their development of video games. So let's begin by talking about CCP canceling their World of Darkness MMO. So the World of Darkness as an MMO was supposed to be a deep sandbox game that was going to be gritty and dark, and unfortunately it just wasn't panning out. After 8 years of development, the World of Darkness MMO just was not coming to fruition. CCP has announced that it's officially closing down its development and laying off 56 members of its Atlanta-based staff. Now, this is also in conjunction with the fact that CCP has also announced that in 2013, they posted a $21 million loss. And that's kind of sad, mainly because CCP is a very well-known developer. They're also highly respected by their community for always listening to what their community wants and hopefully developing upon that. So this is kind of just a sad incident in where a great developer is just kind of going through their own struggles at the time. And we're seeing a lot of fluctuations in the MMO space. I think a lot of that, there's a lot of things that could go into why a lot of MMOs are kind of floundering right now. But again, I see that CCP is doubling down on their efforts to continue their development of EVE Online and Just 514, the FPS counterpart to EVE Online, and really just directing a lot of things towards, I know they're still doing, I think their game called Valkyrie, which is going to be coming out for virtual reality and stuff like that. So I think that these games, I think this developer is doing a great job of recalculating what is actually going to make them money in the long run, since World of Darkness has been in development for 8 years and they're not seeing it come to the fruition and really encapsulate the ideas and the desire for a game that they really want. So it's unfortunate to see a game that had so much potential. I know as somebody who I just can't like EVE Online, that the idea that I might be able to enjoy another CCP game, one that I know is going to have the support and going to have the kind of teams behind it that really an MMO needs, and the kind of understanding of delivering what the community wants, first and foremost. That's something that I was hopeful for, but again, seeing that we never really saw any gameplay and we never saw like any in-game footage of the game, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, I guess it's no real loss to any of us except for maybe CCP and the 56 members of the Atlanta-based team that got laid off. While we're on the topic of things that seem to affect us, let's go ahead and talk about the Oculus Rift development team saying that in 1 year's time, the Facebook deal will make sense to all of us. This is something that it seems so ridiculously overblown. Don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of fears that a lot of people have with how much Facebook knows about us and how much we know we shouldn't be trusting them because of their convolutedness when it comes to working with the government and spying on us and all that other BS. But when it comes to then taking that and putting that into a headset that is supposed to make us feel like we're in a different reality, I think that there's definitely some concerns there. That being said, even if you look in the comment section of this article, if you look in almost every comment section of videos that are done on this, there is constant bitching, as if like this isn't like a huge deal. It's kind of like this sense of like, oh, you're just running away with money. Come on. They're talking about the fact that, dude, Oculus VR was a very high risk company to come work for. They did not have really any sales before. All their dev kits were sold at cost. They had amazing overhead. They had some incredible investors, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was going to be a success. The investment of Facebook now says that basically virtual reality is going to be around for at least a significant amount of time, that there's going to be games that can now be developed for this platform for sure, because it will be supported for a very long time. This is something that's going to allow them to get the talent and have the technology to be able to build their own in-house technology, to be able to bring on the talent that they need because they're not so high risk anymore, and people don't have to worry about their jobs, especially in an industry where we just talked about them, laying people off in an MMO, and how often do we hear about developers laying people off? So this is something that we know is going to have to happen for them to be able to continue the development. And the fact that it's with Facebook is, yes, in a way, very, very creepy. But people are getting so passionate as if they understand it. We're talking about billions of dollars here that is the possibility for the virtual reality. And somebody sitting in their house who has no understanding about what it takes to run a business, let alone a video game company where something is in development for years before you ever see a profit and is very high risk, somebody is going to try to say, oh, you're going to roll around in your money like, for freaking Donald Duck or whatever his name was. You know what I mean? Throwing around all his pool of golden coins and stuff like that. I mean, what is that? That is so not. I mean, like, who do you think you are to act like you understand this stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, there's things with corporations, and we should have some hesitation on certain stuff, and there are definitely some reasons to be there. But this idea that it's all just purely necessarily about money, and that there's no passion or anything else in this project, and as if like you somehow, like, your insignificant idea of like, well, I'm never buying this product ever again. Because yes, you will. If there's good games that come out for it, yes, you will. Shut up. You have no idea what's going to come out with Oculus VR. Stop making these, fake ideas that, like, you're not going to buy these things. If it ends up becoming a dominant platform and games come out for it, you will buy it. So everybody just needs to calm the fuck down about what's going on with Facebook and stuff like that, and really just see what comes out of it first. Let's see what develops out of it and stop freaking out. Yes, you can have your concerns, you can voice those concerns, but let's not be stupid and rash and just say, oh, well, I'm never going to buy any of this stuff, and, F all the people in Facebook and all your rich people. No. Stop acting like a victim. You're not a victim of anything. This is their business, and they can do what they want with this, and you know what? In the end, it might actually benefit you. And coming right out of the article talking about decisions made by corporations that we feel don't necessarily benefit us, let's talk about how the Division development team has said that the delay of Watch Dogs sent them an important message. And the message that it sent is that, Ubisoft took a 25% dip in their stock when they announced the delay of Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is highly anticipated, and so the delay really hit them. Again, investors in the stock market are not necessarily understanding what really drives a game, but for them, it's just like one more product that's being delayed, less likely to make revenues now, and so they pull back their money. In the end, Ubisoft basically gambled in saying that if they can make the game better, then that means it's going to be a successful franchise, and it's going to pay off in dividends later on. So I think that this is a great thing, that the Division developers, which are also going to be published by Ubisoft, are seeing that there's a chance that if the game isn't necessarily up to snuff, that they could eventually develop it into what it needs to be. That Ubisoft will understand that Division is also another highly anticipated game, and that if necessary, it can take the needed steps to develop the game to where it should be when it launches. This is something that we should all recognize, and this is also the point that I was trying to make with the Oculus, is that in the end, corporations aren't just doing things. They're still filled with people. They're not just these buildings. And they have their corporate personhood, which is a separate issue. But in the end, they're being run by people. And so it's not always just about money. There's the ability for passion to play into something. So when you have the developers of the Division saying, we might have the opportunity, if necessary, to delay this game to have it up to snuff to where you will benefit, that could be the exact same thing that's going on with the Oculus Rift. They're saying, you know what, it was a high-risk project, and there might have not have been as much chance to make it a very high-end platform, but now with this deal with Facebook, we're able to do that. So I think these two articles are great illustrations about how decisions can be either seen as a benefit or a negative without really knowing the consequences. So again, I really encourage everybody to just keep an open mind about things and really just wait to see how things turn out. There are plenty of things that you can get easily upset with if you're passionate about a game and an update comes out for it or what have you. There's plenty of things that you can get upset about, but in the end, when it comes to these kind of articles, when it comes to these kinds of announcements where you haven't even seen the benefits or the negatives of such a development, you really just kind of have to hold on and hope for the best. You can have your opinions, but really the idea of getting super passionate one way or the other is really just a silly thing, because you haven't touched these games, you haven't touched these peripherals, you haven't understood their development along the line. So I think these two articles do a great job of illustrating that decisions made by corporations can look negative or can look positive, but in the end, we just have to wait to see the results. This concludes this weekly news recap. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and go ahead and tell me down in the comment section below what you think about these news articles, what you think about my opinions. Let's go ahead and have a discussion. I really want to engage with you guys. Also, don't forget to follow me on my social media. You can find all the links for that down in the description. If you like to follow my channel, please don't forget to check out, I have my channel update video that I just uploaded the other day, and you can see what I have planned ahead. I have a lot of good stuff planned to hopefully be able to engage with you guys more. I'm planning on starting to do Twitch and some other things, so go ahead and check that out. I'm really excited to see what you guys have to say, and hopefully to have more discussion with you. But until next time, as always, my name is Chris, and I'll see you guys soon.